music, movies, literature, politics, and show business. At one time or another, they all come to the Ron Sedgy Show. So why don't you?
Everybody's talking at me.
CRN Digital Talk Radio. Wilder here with Paul Stern up there near the Hollywood Hills and the network. And we are live across America on this radio and cable system and around the world at crntalk.com, iHeartRadio, Apple, Stitcher. Any way you want to get us. Hey, today's Kimberly Dvorak, National Homeland Security Correspondent and also correspondent for CW News 6 in San Diego, talking about Obama's nuke deal. D.V. Kidd in the second hour and her article, Taking Down Hillary Clinton Once and for All. You know, I was looking at, and I think this might be a mainstream media story here. It kind of sounds like it anyway. Today is tax day. And if you haven't filed already, your income tax return must be postmarked by tonight. And here it comes. While our income tax system is foolish, inefficient, and costly, tax day is hardly a physical drag for most taxpayers. And here are a couple of facts you should know before you complain about filing your income taxes. Number one, most taxpayers will receive a refund. As of April 3rd, 2015, the IRS reports that 97 million tax returns have been filed, 77 million taxpayers receiving refunds. Number two, for most taxpayers, their income tax liability is less than their other tax payments, particularly the payroll tax. Number three, in 2013, the latest year for which statistics are available, more than 27 million taxpayers, that's nearly 20%, received an earned income tax credit, that's EITC, with an average payment of $2,407. And number four, the one thing worse than paying taxes is being audited by the IRS. But tax audits are increasingly uncommon. The IRS audited 0.9% of all income tax returns in 2014, and that's the lowest number of audits since 2006. Does all this mean that we should be happy about the current income tax code? Of course not. The tax system is disorderly a mess filled with inefficient subsidies. It sets a high marginal tax rate on savings, which are a key driver of long-run economic growth, and it is so plagued by noncompliance and under-reporting that the IRS estimates that the 2006 tax gap was $385 billion. Legislation empowering Congress to reject an emerging Iran nuclear pact is expected to sail through both houses of Congress, leaving President Barack Obama with the tough task of selling the deal to skeptical lawmakers. Quote, I don't know how you cut a deal with the devil and think the devil is going to keep his end of the deal, House Speaker John Boehner said yesterday after Obama bowed to pressure from Republicans and Democrats and agreed to sign a compromise legislation. The legislation, unanimously approved by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, would give lawmakers a say on what could be a historic deal aimed at preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons. In exchange, the influential Islamic nation in the Middle East would get relief from economic sanctions, stifling its economy. The rare and reluctant agreement between the president and the Republican-led Congress came after the White House maintained for weeks that congressional interference could jeopardize sensitive negotiations with Tehran. The United States, Britain, France, Germany, Russia, and China reached a preliminary agreement with Iran April 2nd to curb the nuclear program, and they hope to finalize the pact by June 30th. Probably heard former New England Patriot star Aaron Hernandez found guilty today, first-degree murder in the deadly late-night shooting, sealing the downfall of the athlete who once had a $40 million contract and a standout career ahead of him. Hernandez, 25, looked to his right, pursed his lips after the jury forewoman read the verdict. The first-degree murder conviction carries a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole in the slaying of Odin Lloyd, that is, a 27-year-old landscaper, amateur weekend football player who was dating the sister of Hernandez's fiancée. Tomorrow, one of my guests, Glenn Spencer, founder of the American Border Patrol Group, will be talking about this one. I don't know if you heard about this. ISA is operating a camp just a few miles from El Paso, Texas. According to Judicial Watch sources that include a Mexican Army field grade officer and a Mexican Federal Police inspector, the exact location where the terrorist group has established its base is around 8 miles from the U.S. border in an area known as Anapara, situated just west of Ciudad Juarez in the Mexican state of Chihuahua. Another ISIS cell to the west of Juarez in Puerto Palomas targets the New Mexico towns of Columbus and Deming for easy access to the United States. Now, during the course of a joint operation last week, Mexican Army and federal law enforcement officials discovered documents in Arabic as well as other languages of plans of Fort Bliss. That's a sprawling military installation that houses the U.S. Army's 1st Armored Division right there in El Paso. Muslim prayer rugs were recovered with the documents during that operation. Law enforcement and intelligence sources report the area around Anapara is dominated by the Vincent Carrillo Fuentes cartel, known as the Juarez cartel, La Línea, that's the enforcement army of the cartel, and Barrio Azteca, a gang originally formed in the jails of El Paso. Cartel control of the Anapara area made it an extremely dangerous and hostile operating environment for the Mexican Army and federal police operations. Now, according to these same sources, the coyotes engaged in human smuggling, working for the Juarez cartel, they helped move ISA terrorists through the desert and across the border between Santa Teresa and Sunland Park, New Mexico. To the east of El Paso and Juarez, cartel-backed coyotes are also smuggling ISA terrorists through the porous border between Acala and Fort Hancock, Texas. Now, these specific areas were targeted for exploitation by the ISIS because of their understaffed municipal and county police forces and the relative safe havens that the area provides for unchecked large-scale drug smuggling that has already been going on. Mexican intelligence sources report that ISA intends to exploit the railways and airport facilities in the vicinity of Santa Teresa, New Mexico. That's a U.S. port of entry. Source also says that ISA has spotters located on the East Portillo Mountains of New Mexico, and that's largely managed by the Bureau of Land Management. And do you remember when I was speaking with a couple of guests when your President Obama declared all that land in New Mexico out of bounds for everybody because he wanted to make it a national monument, while everyone knew that it was, like a major highway for drug smuggling, human trafficking? But oh no, nobody stopped him. Well, ISA is conducting reconnaissance of regional universities, all right? And also the White Sands Missile Range, the government facilities in Alamogordo, New Mexico, Fort Bliss, and the electrical power facilities near Anapara and Chaparral, New Mexico. Oh, the border is secure. Why did I even read that story? I forgot. The border is secure. Yeah. Well, more disturbing news on the immigration front. The administration is deporting fewer criminal aliens than it did last year, according to new statistics released yesterday that undercut President Obama's justification for his new amnesty, which he said was intended to free agents to focus on the most dangerous of criminals. by focusing on, and remember these words that King Obama said, felons, not families. Well, instead, both arrest and deportations of criminal aliens are down 30% through the first 6 months of 2015, signaling that agents who have been told to stop focusing on rank-and-file illegal immigrants have not been able to refocus on criminal illegal immigrants instead. Wow. Japan's Air Force said today that jet fighters, scramblers, have reached a level not seen since the height of the Cold War 3 decades ago, as Russian bombers probed its northern skies and Chinese combat aircraft intruded into the southern airspace. In the year ending March 31st, Japanese fighters scrambled 944 times, 16% more than the same period the previous year. And this is the second highest number of encounters ever recorded over the 12-month period since records began in 1958, and only one less than a record 944 scrambles in the year of 1984. Heartened by growing support for their cause and recent pay hikes by large corporate employers, America's low-wage workers will continue their fight for higher pay today with protests, rallies, and a one-day walkout scheduled in more than 200 cities. The actions are expected to attract thousands of participants in what organizers are calling, quote, the most widespread mobilization ever by U.S. workers seeking higher pay. Fast food cooks, cashiers are expected to strike in 230 cities, including New York, L.A., Detroit, St. Louis, Kansas City, Missouri, and Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, the growing effort to boost the wages and bargaining clout of workers in non-union establishments took off in November 2012 when 200 fast food employees in New York, they left their jobs in protest, calling for 15-hour wages and the right to unionize. I saw a story where there's people signed a whole thing there. There were a lot of them that signed it, demanding they wanted the pay hike and the wage to be set at $50 an hour. They must think they're in Seattle. Hey, Iran announced that China has agreed to assist in the building of 5 nuclear plants across their country, according to the Iran's Atomic Energy Organization. Iran plans to enlist the Chinese in the construction of 5 new nuclear plants, similar in size and scope to plant currently operating near Bushehr. Iran's insistence on building more nuclear power plants has become a key concern for critics of the Obama administration's diplomacy with the Islamic Republic, as these nuclear structures could potentially be used to assist its nuclear weapons program. This president, he doesn't like nuclear reactors because that interferes with his solar and wind program. You should know that. So now he's saying, these nuclear plants there, for energy, they're going to assist the nuclear weapons program. In my opinion, there's little people like John Kerry and the President of the United States and a few others. That's where they're getting their assistance. Well, the Obama administration has said in the past that the construction of light water reactors such as the one in Bushehr does not violate existing United Nations restrictions. Well, he said one thing and he says another, and nothing new. Hey, we're going to be right back with some more news. Don't go away.
Get things done with power, comfort, and speed in a Kubota RTV utility vehicle. Now you can get financing as low as 0% APR for up to 4 years during our More Power to You sales event. 0 down, 0% APR financing for terms up to 48 months on select equipment now through June 30th, 2015. Not available for rental, national accounts, governmental customers, or with some customer instant rebate offers. Financing through Kubota Credit Corporation USA, subject to credit approval. Other exceptions may apply. For more information, call toll-free 1-888-465-8268. For more information or to find a participating dealer, visit Kubota.com.
Hi, this is Warren Eckstein. Get the jump on fleas before they get the jump on you. Cedarside Original from Cedarside.com is a must-have to eliminate fleas and ticks. Cedarside.com's products are made with 100% natural cedar oil and are safe for kids, pets, and adults. Cedarside's original organic bug spray repels and kills mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, flies, ear mites, mange, and more. Order some today. Go to Cedarside.com. Use coupon code Warren at checkout to get free shipping or call 800-842-1464 and mention my name, Warren Eckstein, Cedarside for people, pets, and premises.
CRN travelers, relax at the beautiful Fountain Grove Inn and Conference Center in Santa Rosa, California. Come to quality and come to luxury. Experience the newly renovated guest rooms. They're generously sized and they're decorated in the Tuscan tradition. They have great, incredible pillow-top mattresses, luxurious linens, and down-filled comforters. The Fountain Grove Inn also offers complimentary Wi-Fi and internet access. There's warm cookies and coffee every evening in the hotel lobby, and you can visit the newly remodeled Equus Restaurant and Equus Lounge with its new wine bar. It's the ideal place to relax and enjoy a glass of wine and watch our What's Cooking on Wine show on CRN with host Larry Van Alst on Wednesdays. It's the Fountain Grove Inn, Hotel, and Conference Center located in the heart of Sonoma wine country. It's easily located in Santa Rosa off the 101 Fountain Grove Parkway exit. Call 707-578-6101. That's 707-578-6101 or visit fountaingroveinn.com.
Have you ever considered adding a home security system but thought it would be too expensive? Here's the good news. There's never been a more affordable time to help protect your home, valuables, and your loved ones. You can now get a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home, your authorized ADT dealer, with the installation of a new ADT monitored system. Here's even better news. Your new system, worth $850, is free. You pay just a $99 installation charge and purchase monthly monitoring for less than $2 a day. Call Protect Your Home today at 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. Get the peace of mind that comes with owning an ADT monitored system, plus a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home. Call now, 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. 36-month monitoring contract required. General terms and conditions apply. Visit protectyourhome.com/terms.
Everybody's talking at me.
Chuck Wilder, CRN. You know, I'm having a wonderful time because all of a sudden all of these things that Hillary has done in her past, all of the links are popping up, and oh yeah, it's great to reminisce. And now she's starting new stuff. It's interesting that I don't know if you know this or not, but she one of her big speeches yesterday, it turned out there were more news people than admirers, supporters. The crowd, the largest crowd, was the news force. And you may have very well missed it, but at her first 2016 campaign stop in Iowa yesterday, wannabe president, Mrs. Bill Clinton, ooh, boy, she doesn't want to be called that. Let me see. Wannabe President Hillary Clinton called for a constitutional amendment, if necessary, to limit free speech rights granted by the Supreme Court to unions, companies, and organizations donating to political campaigns. Already going to start tinkering around with the Constitution, huh? Now, few might have expected to see ex-Obama aide to kick off her second bid to infiltrate the Oval Office with such a proposal for fundamental change in American law. But there she was, wearing her uber smile. Yes, here it is, with more media than audience at Kirkland Community College. And did you happen to see the video? If you didn't see it, boy, you missed something. It was a dramatic dash cam video from a police car showing a police officer in a Tucson suburb using his cruiser to ram an armed suspect, send him flying in the air, and then the car smashes into the wall. The man survived the February 19th crash, and prosecutors cleared the officer of any wrongdoing. It's getting a lot of attention, all right? The man who was hit, Mario Valencia, 36, he faces several felony charges. He included an assault on a police officer. He robbed a convenience store in Tucson, broke into a church, invaded a home, stole a car. Then he stole a rifle, and then he started shooting up in the air and stuff like that, walking down the street. And along comes another police car, and the guy doesn't even see the car, and he just runs right over him and into the wall, and high speed, and wow. I guess you would call it, if you wanted to, check out the video, it was Tucson, probably Tucson police dash cam video or something like that. Anyway, President candidate, Florida Senator Marco Rubio. I'm going to be talking about him tomorrow with David Drucker. He's with the Washington Examiner. Anyway, Rubio has sharp criticism for the Obama administration's push to remove Cuba from the official list of state sponsors of terrorism. Rubio, whose parents left Cuba for America decades ago, called the move terrible, but also, not surprisingly, unfortunately, White House officially announced the decision Tuesday, saying the Cuban government, quote, has not provided any support for international terrorism for at least 6 months. Did you hear that statement? We're going to declare they're no longer terrorists because, according to us, apparently they haven't done anything for 6 months, terrorism for the last 6 months. So, in addition, they've given assurances that it will not support acts of international terrorism in the future. But then when you dig down into here, you find out Cuba, Rubio says, is a state sponsor of terrorism. They harbor fugitives of American justice, including someone, who killed that police officer in New Jersey for over 30 years ago. It's also the country that's helping North Korea evade weapons sanctions by the United Nations. You don't hear any of that stuff from the commander-in-chief, right? Like, hey, how about this guy that killed the police officer that's been hiding over here for 30 years? We want him back. Well, does his father speak Muslim or any? No. Keep him. Those are my words, of course. Rubio also said the decision sends a chilling message to our enemies abroad that this White House is no longer serious about calling terrorism by its proper name. Marco Rubio. And I saw a lady on TV yesterday say, I'm not going to vote for that guy. He has to drink water before he speaks. My goodness, what if we were in a war and he had to stop and take a drink of water? Uh-huh. And one of the guys commented, you know what? And you only have to be 18 years old to vote. And that lady was about 20. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
This is the Mike Huckabee Report for Wednesday. I'm Mike Huckabee on this tax day in America with an important announcement about the Mike Huckabee Report. That's next. Looking forward to your tax refund? Well, so are identity thieves who steal refunds by filing fraudulent tax returns. Last year alone, they stole more than an estimated $5 billion from hardworking Americans just like you. Once an identity thief gets a hold of your tax forms, watch out. They know that virtually all the information they need to steal your identity and even your life savings is right there. Help protect yourself with LifeLock Ultimate Plus. LifeLock Ultimate Plus provides protection for your Social Security number, bank accounts, investments, even the equity in your home. And while no one can stop all identity theft and nobody can monitor every single business, LifeLock Ultimate Plus provides their most comprehensive identity theft protection available. If you're filing taxes this year, especially if you're filing online, do what I did and get LifeLock Ultimate Plus. Visit LifeLock.com/Huckabee now or call and use promo code Huckabee to save 10% on your LifeLock Ultimate Plus membership. Call 1-800-240-LOCK, 800-240-LOCK, 800-240-LOCK. Friday, May 1st will be the final edition of the broadcast version of the show. For the past 6.5 years, it's been my absolute pleasure to present news and commentary about the big stories of the day and features of Huck's heroes doing good things and Huck's criminal masterminds doing stupid things. I've had biting and tough commentary about some of the more absurd ways in which Washington defied common sense and busted our family budgets, as well as in which their naive and so-called smart diplomacy caused us to lose our friends' trust and gain nothing but the ridicule of our enemies. But as I move closer to the decision to do more than talk about these concerns and do something about them, I will bring the broadcast version to a close, but will continue the subscription-only version through the Huckabee Exclusive. Details of that at HuckabeeExclusive.com. Even though I'm not going to be able to continue on the wonderful family of radio stations that have been my broadcast partners for these many years, I will offer the daily podcast of the Mike Huckabee Report by subscription as part of the Huckabee Exclusive. The members-only format allows me to talk candidly about issues on the daily audio podcast, but I'll also be sharing personal video messages each week, as well as a recap of the week's news with my perspective on why these stories are important to you and your family. You can subscribe to the Huckabee Exclusive for a small monthly fee, or save 40% by subscribing for a full year, which is less than 17 cents a day. And because it's April 15th, may be a day in which you're looking to get a tax refund. Some Americans celebrate the day and they act like they're getting a windfall. Well, not me. A tax refund means that you paid the government more this past year than you had to, and they're giving you your own money back a year later. And even though you loaned Washington the money you worked hard for, they didn't give you one dime for the benefit of using your money all year interest-free. If a bank or investment firm took your money and held it all year, used it for their purposes, and then gave your money back to you with not even so much as a thank you note, you'd be mad and they'd probably go to jail. Instead, some Americans will actually think they struck gold today. Well, the confiscation of your hard-earned wages before you even see it, and the government using it for free, is one of the many reasons that I continue to support getting rid of the IRS and replacing a tax on our income with the fair tax. We pay taxes when we bought something, not when we worked and earned something. Penalizing our productivity is the way to kill the economy, not to grow it. The fair tax would make April 15th just another beautiful spring day in America. Working to get that done is one of the reasons I'll be saying goodbye to my faithful broadcast family and stepping forward to taking the message to a different dimension. You'll be able to get my podcast, videos, and recap at HuckabeeExclusive.com. And this is the Mike Huckabee Report.
Everybody's talking at me.
CRN, Digital Talk Radio, Chuck Wilder here. Hey, let's go to my guest now, Kimberly Dvorak, National Homeland Security Correspondent for the San Diego County Political Buzz Examiner. She also writes for Human Events and the Washington Guardian, and she's the correspondent for CW News 6 in San Diego. She has covered local, national, international news stories and stories you don't even know where they're hiding that she hasn't found yet. But anyway, hey, Kimberly, how are you?
And if I haven't found them, then the IRS certainly will.
I know you're on a tight schedule today, and I thought you were going to write a new one, which I did not get. I'll just give you a heads up here. But I do have the Iranian nuke deal. Is it dead on arrival? And then, I guess, I think it was the president. It looked like the president, sounded like the president. All of a sudden, he's talking to Congress about this. What is that? What he's doing?
Yeah, well, fortunately, I guess for the American people in this case, both parties came together yesterday, and despite John Kerry, the Secretary of State, and the White House officials begging Congress and the Senate not to go forward with a deal to authorize any form of, reducing or getting rid of the sanctions against Iran. I mean, it was a 19-0 vote to get it out of committee, and now they both sides say they have a veto-proof bill, and so the president has finally had to relent, saying that he will allow Congress, give them the opportunity to look over the agreement, which there is no agreement, and as we're learning today, it's, I guess, just a verbal agreement. It wasn't even written down talking points, so we're really nowhere with this negotiation.
Is this the first time he's ever been spanked by Congress?
You know, it's starting to happen more and more as we get, you know, as he gets deeper into his lame duck term here. You know, the Democrats are thinking, you know, if we want to get any kind of power back, we're going to have to make a serious run at, you know, regaining the Senate or, you know, gaining some seats in Congress. And so they're looking at this, and and they see really the American people, you know, not wanting the president just to go out and, you know, and reward Iran, in essence, for bad behavior over the past 30 years. And, you know, we know that they're most likely cheating on the IAEA inspections, and they're probably very close to having a nuclear weapon in any event. And I think that, you know, we're seeing the president's party, you know, come to terms with the fact that they're going to have to go their own ways if they're going to have any kind of political future. And
I was going to say, and you and I may have talked about this the last time you were on. That might have been about the time it happened, but you know, hours after he said, "Oh, the deal is done," and blah blah blah, then the Iranian foreign minister, Javad Zarif, I guess, Zarif.
Yeah.
He said, he's lying. Don't believe a word he's telling you about this Iranian nuclear deal. It's none of this is what he said is what's going to happen. And,
yeah.
I mean, you know, this guy's pretty high up.
Well, I think, you know, the administration, I kind of, you know, I touch on this in the opening paragraph of the story here about this is a presidency that's desperately trying to find a legacy, something to, you know, hang its hat on. And, you know, a lot of President Bush and, you know, President Clinton before him, you know, Middle East peace is always is tempting. You know, for administrations who want to focus on foreign policy, typically their second term. And what we're seeing with this president is they're so desperate for this legacy that they were willing to sell out the American people on this, because there is no way that the president should not have known that this, you know, this bill that was coming out of the Senate Armed Services Committee was going to, or I'm sorry, the Foreign Department
Relation
was 19-0. That means, you know, his higher up leadership in the Democratic Party is not speaking to the White House. That is troubling. That should trouble the White House, because they should have had a heads up on this vote yesterday that they were going to lose, and not only lose, you know, lose their ability to negotiate further with Iran, but they're going to lose 19-0 in a landslide. That's something they should have never allowed to happen, but they're taking more risks, you know, at the end of his presidency. And I think you're just looking at a White House that really just doesn't care too much about, you know, running the country anymore. They've checked out anyway.
You know, to get his legacy, it is disturbing. Maybe I'm missing something, Kimberly, but for him to be so dead set, look what I did, giving the enemy, you know, death to America constantly, giving them the nuclear bomb, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And look at all the places where the Muslim Brotherhood have taken over because this president tinkered around. I guess Egypt is the only one that he hasn't got his tentacles in. But what's going to happen? The bomb explodes and all of a sudden he's going to say, it's Bush's fault and you're racist?
Yeah.
Is that going to be his answer?
Maybe. Well, it's always his fault, and maybe it is in part his fault. But
well, I'll tell you something. Yeah, if they read your article, this one here is Obama's Iranian nuke deal, DOA. If they look at the sources you have in here, for example, Defense Intelligence Agency leader, Army Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, he said, and he's already told these people, we should stop, take a deep breath, step back and look at everything that's going on. This guy knows what's going on, but, we can't listen to him. And there was one other one here, I think. I can't find it right now that you were, okay, that was Michael Flynn. Was there another one you quote here?
Yeah, that's General Flynn. Yeah, I mean, there were, higher ups that have come out and for example, the Saudi ambassador has come out on multiple occasions. And you have to remember, the listeners have to remember, Saudi Arabia, for the most part, they keep a very, very low profile around the world. And for them to come out and speak and hold a press conference when the president was coming out with the, I don't know, what you want to call it, framework or, verbal framework at this point on the nuclear deal, they came out and heavily criticized the Obama administration. This is not something that the Saudi Arabians typically do. We've seen them go in and, strike in Yemen and only give the United States government an hour's notice that they were going to start a bombing.
I saw that. Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, you're looking at an administration that's out of control at this point, and you're looking at the Middle East saying, okay, we can't count on the United States anymore, so we better get it together ourselves and figure out what we're going to do. And, the threat comes down to, and this is really, all this is at this point is a regional Sunni versus Shia conflict. That's really what we're seeing in all these countries. And the fear is that if Iran gets a nuclear bomb and decides one day that, they're over Saudi Arabia yapping about, it's too windy out here in the desert or something, that they can, wipe them off the face of the earth, then you're going to have a regional war that could spark a world war. So right now, you're looking at a region that hasn't even sorted itself out as, are we going to be a Sunni religion or a Shia religion? And until they figure that out, and they'll all die to the end trying to make their religion the premier religion. But at the end of the day, both those religions want to see the United States wiped off the face of the earth as well. So we're trying to negotiate something that I don't even think that we really are at a point in time where we should be negotiating, because we're trying to negotiate with everyone involved that wants to get rid of the United States eventually. And one person has the most, let me finish with this, the country has the most to lose is Israel. They're over there, and they're the ones that are not at the table.
Yeah, and speaking of Israel, like you say, Obama continues to flip-flop on the nuclear issue, particularly due to the contentious relationship with Israel's prime minister. He doesn't like the guy. It's his ego, Kimberly, his ego. And I really believe with all my heart that there's not one single person that can tell him anything except Valerie Jarrett. That's just a gut feeling I have, is that's the only person that can get through to him.
Well, he's very immature in the way he relates, even when he's relating to U.S. lawmakers. Again, for the president not to know the 19-0 vote coming out of his own Congress and Senate he didn't know that. That means he's not even talking to his Democrat, leaders on the Hill, and that's really telling. Again, it's his way or the highway, and he's like a petulant child that just thinks that he knows everything and we're going to do this, and you better just go along with it because I'm President Obama and I know all. And I think like you said, it really is an ego trip maybe, but I think it's a character flaw because he really could be doing some really good things right now in his presidency, but he's choosing to alienate even his own party, which shows you he really doesn't have the answers. And certainly the people that are telling him what to do here aren't educated enough to understand that they're really out of the loop as well. So you're going to see countries like Cuba and Venezuela, and you're already seeing it in the Middle East where they're going, you know what? The U.S. is weak, and they're a paper tiger, and we're going to do and take advantage of the situation any way we feel like it, because what are they going to do? Put a red line down? How'd that work out in Syria?
I think you mentioned that in this article, too, didn't you, about how he draws the little red lines, and then I guess he forgets they're even there or something like that.
Well, that and he'll say in the speech that we're with Israel, but then the next day he's saying, I really don't like that Bibi guy. Can we get rid of him? I mean, it's just it's amateur hour at its finest right now.
A lot of listeners, a lot of Americans don't know, and if they know, they haven't recalled about the IEDs, improvised explosive devices that have killed thousands and thousands of U.S. soldiers. And you have to remember, and Kimberly brings it up in this article that I have, that those IEDs, they were introduced into this warfare by Iran. What is it? Forgive and forget or whatever. And when we talk about the president, Kimberly, and I talk about, I always refer to him like a little kid, in a high chair banging his spoon if he's not getting his way. And I mean, my goodness, look how he was so upset whenever Netanyahu was invited over here. Even sends a team to Israel to try to get the guy, defeated in the election. Won't visit with him. The first time he came to the White House, they just left him there. Hey, you want to order some food? Use the telephone. I got to go. I have I think he was going to a supper. Then they come to find out they don't have kosher food, like a stab. And what I'm getting at is that, maybe a lot of presidents have been that way, and I got to give him credit for hiding some of his stuff when you compare him with, are you ready for this? Hillary Clinton. Now, there's a lady that can't control her temper. And I'm going to send you an email today, and where she got a little PO'd. She misunderstood the question, and all of a sudden somebody was asking about what would happen, da-da-da-da-da, and she thought they were talking about Bill Clinton. Oh, my goodness. Like he was... Yeah. Ooh. I mean, she might even be scarier than him. She might just push the damn button just to show you she can push the damn button. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the country is going to have to take a deep breath and really figure out who they want to be the next president, because it's going to be a very, very important decision they make. And, Hillary Clinton, I mean, the jokes are already out there with, don't worry about this and don't worry about that. We know that she wiped her hard drive with all of her emails that are gone. And I mean, this is a very calculating person who, I mean, and they're political, savvy folks, and, they're going to run a campaign and, and tinker with the elections so that Americans are really going to have to sit down and decide who is going to be president, because this is a machine. The Clinton machine is very tough for people to beat. However, she did get beat by a first-time senator with absolutely no experience. And when you start, if you start putting the issues on the table that are important to the American people and kind of leave aside the social issues for the meantime, so put the issues out there that matter. Who are our friends in the Middle East? What's the foreign policy going to be? How are we going to get the middle class working? And
well, there's stuff about her making up, making up all these stories. I'm trying to think, was it Yemen, where she was making false accounts, almost like she says, come on in here and bomb them. This is what they're doing. And people back in Washington, D.C. said, my God, this lady's out of control. But, I'll tell you something. When they, you're talking about we got to worry about the machine. We also have to worry about voter fraud. That's the biggest thing against conservatives and independents. But here's the thing. We're coming up on a break, Kimberly. The thing is, whenever they get into a presidential debate, all right, and she loses her cool, that's going to be the thing. Of course, then you could just get nothing but left-wing moderators. And anyway, hey, we're going to be right back with the world-famous Kimberly Dvorak, and it's KDReport.com, Examiner.com, WashingtonGuardian.com, HumanEvents.com. She's everywhere. And, of course, there's always, let me find it real quick, SanDiego6.com. That's the number 6, SanDiego6.com. We'll be right back.
Located in the heart of Maui's premier resort, Kaanapali Beach Hotel is officially recognized as Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel and the #1 best value in Hawaii. With a range of accommodations and affordable dining options, this is the ideal setting to turn Hawaiian dreams into lifelong memories. Live Hawaiian entertainment every evening, free year-round children's programs, weekly arts and crafts fairs, welcome breakfast, and departure kukui lei ceremonies add to the value. Swim in the whale-shaped pool. Indulge in the fabulous spa and hotel salon. Enjoy Hawaiian hospitality at its best at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Call 800-262-8450 or go to kbhmaui.com. That's kbhmaui.com. Aloha.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Geico Motorcycle presents Reflections from the Road.
Let me tell you, the road is a much more relaxing place since I switched to Geico Motorcycle Insurance and started saving money. With that taken care of, now I can think about deep, important things. Like how come it's a pair of pants when there's only one of them? A real brain teaser. But hey, at least saving money with Geico Motorcycle is as easy as pie. What does that mean, anyway?
Geico Motorcycle Insurance. See how much you could save.
Hi everyone, this is Tina Marie asking you to join me this and every Sunday for Critter Radio here on CRN. Call in, talk to me about your critters, animal questions, pet tips, and more every Sunday at noon. That's Critter Radio with Tina Marie every Sunday at noon here at CRN. Get more information at crntalk.com or facebook.com/tina.m.lithgow. Critter Radio with Tina Marie, Sundays at noon Pacific Time here on CRN.
Everybody's talking at me.
My guest, Kimberly Dvorak, correspondent CW News 6 in San Diego. SanDiego6.com. You get to watch those great videos and of her past shows over there. Is there a possibility, in your opinion, that John Nobel Peace Prize, I hope I get it, Kerry, might announce that he's going to run for president, do you think? I just have this kind of a feeling for some reason.
You think there's got to be somebody with some sort of credibility that can give her a run for her money, but we're seeing the fruits of the Iranian nuclear deal just completely fall apart, and he was kind of hanging his hat on these negotiations as well. And so I'm not certain that he would, want to offer himself up. But it just looks like there's not anybody out there that really wants to go up against the Clinton machine, that has so much money and will do the opposition research and tear apart the person, whatever their reputation is, they'll make one and they'll make a new one for them. And I just, you have to think that she feels so entitled, and I did take a look at the email that you sent me during the break here.
Okay.
of her, at the
losing it.
Losing her, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is again going to be, what opponents of Ms. Clinton are going to have to face. You're already seeing a lot of opposition research that's gone out against Republicans. A number of those that are running or thinking about running, she's out there digging up dirt. They're trying to, bring everybody down before it gets down to the wire, one-on-one, and then it'll make it easier for her to win.
Do you remember when Scott Walker first put his toe in the water there, and all of a sudden he dropped out of college? And, that's the left's attack, right? And the right's attack has been, can we see your college records? Did you really go to college? But they get the exposure. They know how to run the machine, the propaganda machine, the mainstream media. That's another advantage.
Yeah, it is absolutely their advantage.
And there's so many things, Kimberly, that people don't hear about. And I want to point out one real quick. I know we're running out of time. 500 million in the arsenal went missing in Yemen. I looked at that and I said, I don't recall that. You see, even me who tries, to keep on top of this stuff. So imagine what the average American, out there watching American Idol, they're not getting this stuff.
Let's keep this in mind. While the United States is busy arming the world, and President Obama in the last 5 years has out-armed the Middle East compared to Bush. So what Bush did in 8 years, it only took Obama 5 years to sell $169 billion worth of arms. In fact, on the U.S. credit card, so the taxpayer ended up paying for most of that. But he did that in 5 years. He's arming these people. And then when it comes to the Second Amendment here in this country, the progressive left is really trying to take weapons away from this. I mean, that's quite the paradox. People ought to think about that. We're arming the Middle East to the teeth, but we're trying to take handguns away from Americans who are, have the absolute right to protect their home and carry a pistol with them. To me, it's just unbelievable.
Look at the steps.
Yeah.
Look at the steps that Hitler took, and look at the steps that are being taken now, and and people say, "Oh my goodness, conspiracies." Yeah, all right. Don't compare them. All right, please don't.
History is
all right.
Look at
hey, Kimberly, all out of time. If they want to see you on CW News 6, when's your next appearance?
Sunday mornings at about 8:15 to 8:20.
All right, 8:15. Go to San Diego.
SanDiego6.com. It's online, so it streams live.
Yep.
So you can
there
watch
you
me
go.
live.
And KDReport.com, Examiner.com, and I look forward to our next visit, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Kimberly Dvorak, D-V-O-R-A-K. DV Kid. Oh, my goodness. If you're ready for this one, her article, Taking Down Hillary Clinton Once and for All. Remember, DV said she ain't going to run, she ain't going to run, she ain't going to run. We'll ask her about that.
Which was most appropriate because that was your theme.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio show sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high-definition digital sound? Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio's 6 channels of high-definition radio, you can now hear all of your favorite hosts like you've never heard them before in CRN HD. The difference is amazing. Catch your favorite political hosts like Dennis Prager, Tom Hartman, Barry Farber, and so many more. Entertainment and lifestyle programming like The Robert Conrad Show, The What's Cooking Show, and The What's Cooking on Wine Show, all in true CRN HD audio. Sports, business, travel, food, wine, politics, there is something for everyone, and it's all available in CRN High Definition Sound. Log on to www.CRN Talk for listings and information on all your favorite shows. That's www.crntalk.com.
The radio channels. The radio channels. CRN.
At SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Apparently, today's landing of a small helicopter on the west lawn of the U.S. Capitol was done to protest campaign finance corruption. That's what Florida postal carrier Doug Hughes claims on a website. He says he wanted to deliver protest letters to every member of Congress. SRN News Capitol Hill correspondent Molly High